Number 1 car shipping company, Ship a Car Direct. Enjoy peace. Looking ahead, nearly 20 million people face the threat of severe weather today in the middle of the country, just a day after a round of storms ripped across the region. NBC Shaquille Brewster is in Chicago with more on that. Shaq, good morning.
Places like Iowa and all that.
Good morning. And this summer of severe weather is just marching on. Overnight, another round of storms in the Chicago area. Part of a system that's led to flooding and concern at events
Chicago,
like the one behind me. And look, it's not just here in Chicago, but you look at Iowa. There at the Iowa Speedway, an apparent tornado.
I literally just said Iowa, yo. That's crazy. Only because I've been there and I know like that's Midwest shit.
Touching down, warning sirens blaring at a practice for an IndyCar race was delayed. All part of a system that has closed off roads, flooded homes, and turned residential streets into small rivers. In Davenport, we saw a video of that porta-john floating down the street. Just
see, this stuff is rare. Like this stuff ain't normal. Like this stuff happened like rarely ever, once in a long time, like once in a blue moon back in the day. But see, nowadays this stuff is damn near normal and common now. It's starting to happen like every other damn day or year or month, like week. So it's like, yeah, man, like it's fam. I'm trying to tell you all to the world out here, like to everybody. It's like pay attention. You ain't learn nothing and pay attention to nothing. Pay attention to the weather and the changes in the planet going on around you. Like, see, and that's why I wanted to play this shit first. Cause see the video I'm about to watch next with CNN. Don't nigga, I guarantee Bill Nye and them guys they finna get into what I'm trying to say right now. Like, but this ain't no surprise. You know, it's very interesting and crazy at the same time to see like this drastic change of like the planet with this weather. Like, where is it going? You know what I mean? Like, Mother Nature ain't nothing to play with.
Look at that video. Imagine just waking up to that. And severe weather causing damage in Bluegrass, Iowa, where a motorhome slipped in a driveway, winds bringing down multiple trees, even knocking out power to tens of thousands across the state. The weather is also causing real travel trouble as well across the country. More than 9,000 flight delays yesterday, some 600 flights canceled. Already this morning, we're seeing about a few hundred delays when you look at airports. And back here in Chicago, just look at this stunning image from early Friday morning. A bolt of lightning hitting both the Willis Tower, if you call it the Sears Tower, you can reference it as that as well.
That's crazy.
And the Hancock Tower at the same time.
That's crazy, but that's a hard ass picture though, bro. But it you know what I'm saying? Like that picture don't look. It look like you know made up. Like, that's crazy, but that's real. Like, that shit really boom and hit the shit on the top. Like, what the fuck?
That was early Friday morning, and I'll just say, you know, if it sounds like we're talking about the severe weather more than normal, well, it's because we are. This week from Texas,
I just said that, more than normal.
Mexico, we've seen 4 so-called one-in-one.
I just said that, more than normal. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. It could be both. It's interesting. This is crazy.
1,000-year rainfall events in less than a week. Guys?
All right, wow.
You see? Look at that.
Thank you so much.
Shocking story.
In my hometown, like 2 tent poles, exactly. All right, let's bring in Angie now with the possibility of even more flooding in Texas.
More flooding in Texas, and that severe weather is going to march on as that system continues its way working east, guys. Here's what we've got this morning. Let's start with the severe threat. 18 million people across parts of the Great Lakes stretching down to the Ohio Valley. If you live in Detroit, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, those are all locations where you could likely see some of those strong wind gusts, potentially some hail and isolated tornadoes. Meanwhile, across parts of the South, we're going to ramp up that chance for heavy rain again, and we're already waking waking up to some of these stormy conditions this morning in parts of the panhandle of Oklahoma, Texas, stretching up into Kansas and out towards Arkansas as well as Missouri. Here's where we have the flood watches right now. Notice there are a couple of places like Oklahoma City down to San Angelo, Midland, Carlsbad, all included in these flood alerts. And this is going to last as we ramp up some of that heavy rain later today. So we will wait to see some of those more showers and thunderstorms with a whole lot of moisture embedded in them popping up across parts of New Mexico and Texas. Where you see the blue is where we have that greater chance for flooding. So the already saturated soils, of course, from that recent heavy rainfall. On top of that, more additional rainfall tomorrow. So we'll be watching for the flooding concerns over the next couple of days still across that region.
All right, Angie, see you back in a little bit.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take...
Damn. See, it's a lot I ain't saying, but, you know, I grew up learning that shit like this was going to take place. So, you know, this is, man, that's why I said to me, it's like, it's a good and the bad. It's a balance coming in the universe. Alright. But the shocking weather, the switch.
I start by breaking up everything I need to get done in a list view. Next, I set a priority. We're continuing.
The switch and the change in the change in this weather, you know, is very drastic and like dramatic and shocking. Like, it's something to you. Everyone needs to definitely be like aware of and alert. Cause you know, you want to know what's going on around you. You don't want to get caught in no crazy storm, first of all. And then it's like, if you're moving, you're traveling, whatever, you want to know what's going on. What areas is like suspecting or known to have certain type of storms or currently going through certain changes. Like, it's something you want to actually, you know, you gotta be aware of and like be ready to adapt. You know what I mean? You gotta be ready to adapt. Like, overall, shit.
You can follow the desperate search in Texas. Last hour, officials said at least 119 people have died.
Wow.
And even more remain missing.
Damn.
In New Mexico, residents experienced similar panic during record-breaking, that's what they called it, floodwaters. That was yesterday. A river 3 surged from less than
See, that's, oh man.
to more
See,
than 20.
and this is why you gotta be aware, cause you gotta get the hell up out of there. You gotta be aware, cause you gotta get the hell up out of there, man. Fam gotta get up out of there. Like I'm saying, like, yo, this the damn time everybody children need to be on the news. Like, niggas better have them news apps downloaded. You better have notifications and alerts on all times, always. Like, yo, you gotta know. Like, I don't know. I can't speak on no case, know what happened to anybody. But I'm just saying, like, yo, if you know some shit going on, you hear some shit like that, it's finna be some crazy shit. If the city and the mayor and all them announcing warnings and all that, yo, sometimes you might have to get up and get the hell on. Cause shit, look at this shit.
100 people were rescued.
A really big flood just came, like a wall of flood. It came and it started going through, and that's when I started recording because it got so wild so quickly.
In central North Carolina, another, quote, once in a 100-year flood. In Chicago, a, quote, 1 in 1,000-year rain event. That's all just this week. Joining me now to try to make sense of this and more is Bill Nye, the
Here we
science
go.
guy. Thanks for being here.
It's good to be here. I'm sorry. I really am sorry for all the trouble.
It's terrible. And so just that last part of what we were describing, you keep hearing once in a lifetime, once in 100 years, once in 1,000 years. At this point, it's not anymore. It's just where we are with the climate and the environment.
Oh, that's, as we like to say, our side of it, the science side of it. This is exactly what was predicted. It's very difficult to tie.
There you go. Like I said, I grew up learning and being taught these things were going to take place and go down. And yeah, this shit real. Like, that's how real it is. Like, it's a lot more other. So I'm just saying that to say, like, it's a lot of things, not just going on with just weather, or just being the topic or the subject, but it's just a lot of things. Like, it could be economics and shit, where like there's been things predicted. Hell, the Bible got predictions and prophecies and shit for real. Like, they're still to come. Like, so you want to be in the state of knowing these things. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
any one weather event to climate change. However, the warm weather events are actually easier to tie to climate change. And so the other problem that happened in the hill country in Texas is this business of the Balcony escarpment, where the air mass got lifted, so it spread out and the rain came down even faster. But it'll happen again, to your point. And everybody's talked about this for years. And the technologies for warning systems exist. You know, when people have tidal or tsunami events, these sort of warning systems can be put up, but you got to get to higher ground very quickly. And the point that I believe was being made in the video a moment ago, was the mass of the water. A 20-foot high mass of water in a half hour is you can't just float your way out of it. Yeah. It knocks everything over. Everybody knows you pick up a bucket of water, you know how heavy it is, and you get a lot of water going that fast. So, what are we going to do about it is the ancient question, and it would be to stop burning fossil fuels. When you're in a hole, stop digging, and so on. But the fossil fuel industry has been very successful.
Look at that.
But the fossil fuel industry has been
the fossil fuel industry been very successful. That's crazy. See, this is what they call the way of the beast. You know what I mean? Like, we're living ass backwards, but we ain't gonna get into that. But when you're doing things unnatural to a natural planet, it's like, hey, this type of stuff is bound to happen. You know? So, us as people, we definitely have a role in this, and like responsible for this. We take like damn near 100% responsibility for this. You know, we caused this, and it's crazy, man. Yeah, so if we don't stop, don't stop this route that we on, if the train don't stop, bro, we gonna crash out. And our lovely, beloved Mother Nature is striving to show us that. And it's all in the science and the scriptures. So, hey, like, what's going on? Like, are we really that nonchalant, careless, dumb? Or what the hell is really going on? Like, what's up?
In getting organizations like the U.S. Congress to think that it's really not happening.
Well, and the first 6 months of the Trump administration, we've seen.
Listen to that. That's crazy.
Like the U.S. very successful.
Getting them to think it's not happening. The money, the success of the business. Finance brings the finances, the money. So the people that's behind pushing the buttons and making the calls, they're receiving the money and the success through finances, money. So they want to think. It's allowing them to think and act like this stuff just don't exist. Or maybe they know exactly what this shit is and this what's going on, and they don't give a fuck.
Getting organizations like the U.S. Congress to think that it's really not happening.
Well, and the first
fossil fuel industry has been very successful. in getting organizations like the U.S. Congress to think that it's really not happening.
Well, and the first 6 months of the Trump administration, we've seen an end to some of the federal efforts on not just fossil fuel, but other efforts that have been in place government-wide to promote alternative energy.
Yes. To be the world leader, to have the U.S. lead the world in renewable energy sources so that we would be able to export our technologies, that people would want to come to the U.S. to learn how to do this stuff and so on. So the opportunity still exists, but we do need to turn things around. And this is, of course, again, one side of the story.
Well, I mean, it's the science side.
Yeah, well, yeah. And, I'm a big fan of this, everybody.
Oh, yeah?
The U.S. Constitution, Article, I like to show this to people, Article 1, Section 8.
Can't ignore the science.
Article 1 is the legislative branch, Congress. Section 8 is the miscellany, letters of marque about piracy, and the progress of science and useful arts. The word science is in the U.S. Constitution.
Guess what? We even have a graphic made so that the people at home can read
Oh, good.
this
Oh,
little
that's
print,
good.
so you can read it again.
But I mention it because
Thanks for pointing that out.
1787 realized the value of science for our health, our welfare, and our international competitiveness.
You see, and that's how you gotta be. That's how you gotta communicate. You gotta point shit out. You got to. Even what you think might be should be the obvious and common to everybody, it still gotta be put out and said. Thanks for saying that and putting that out. Cause maybe it would trigger and spark the minds.
It's not a new idea, and so to set science aside is not in anyone's best interest. And so I spent the morning on Capitol Hill in Lindsey Graham's office, Ted Cruz's office, and then Adam Schiff's office. So these are two very conservative guys, one very progressive guy, and everybody shares the idea that NASA is the best brand the United States has.
Let's talk about that,
Yeah.
because, as you said, you're here to lobby on
Well, we
behalf
don't
of them.
lobby. That's
Okay,
all
all right. To talk to people who make decisions in their offices about proposed cuts to NASA.
Yeah, extraordinary cuts.
Yeah.
Cut in half.
I just want to say that your organization, the Planetary Society, created a visual, which we can also put on the screen,
Yes.
of the cuts, the most since 1961, and that was before an American astronaut went into space.
Yeah, the cuts proposed are really extraordinary and, if I may, out of this world. And where exactly the proposals come from is not clear to anybody that we spoke with this morning, but everybody's dealing with it. And they're trying to make these cuts to existing programs, existing missions. And missions, everybody, is a big word that includes the spacecraft and all the people on the ground that are running around maintaining it.
So you're saying that nobody claimed authorship of the cuts?
That we spoke with this morning who had knowledge or said they had knowledge.
Do you think they're going to be successful in getting the money back in?
Well, they're trying. So these are very conservative politicians who are trying to put money back in. And they'll be, right now, it looks like it'll work. But it's very wonky. And I mean, it's the authorization versus appropriations versus the reconciliation versus...
Welcome to Washington.
Yeah. So just everybody, your tax dollars at work. It is there's many, many traditions where these people reach agreements, but what's been happening, as far as we can tell, is the executive branch has been trying to go around the long traditions of the legislature.
Well, that's what Elon Musk, who certainly likes science and likes space, was
everybody
working
keep
on
in
cuts.
mind, NASA is a big customer for SpaceX.
Yeah.
I mean, they're related. It's not one thing, it's not one or the other.
Before I let you go, and you've been very generous with your time, I know that you were receiving a lot of texts from the HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. Trying to convince you the science of connecting autism to vaccines, which you can tell me about the science there. To the point where
Wow.
Well, I mean, you guys, everybody, texts take up your phone time. He was relentless, page after page after page. So
Let's not try to be funny.
year, as you may know,
Keep it real.
first anniversary.
Now, bro just came on here keeping the G and the 100 and real about the weather and science and all this. She just hit him with that curveball. I ain't even see who said he's doing it. He was seeing it coming. Listen to what she asked him. That's some real shit. Cause I know about that. How autism then stemmed and grew from vaccines and shit that we've been giving the babies for over the years. And people been trying to get these people to answer about that for a long time. This ain't new. Just like he just said. Like he said, science and, the idea of it ain't new. Autism stemming being caused by them vaccine shots and what we putting in the babies. I mean, the children ain't new neither. So keep it 100. Don't try to come on here and be all big and act like you all big and godly and genius about, the planet and the science and the weather. And then when you get asked a question that's real on some shit about motherfuckers harming people through the shit that we giving them and all that, first thing you want to respond is make a joke. You want to make a joke about it. You see what I'm saying? That's that fuck shit, you know?
The HHS Secretary Robert Kennedy Jr. Trying to convince you the science of connecting autism to vaccines, which you can tell me about the science there, to the point where you had to block him?
Well, I mean, you guys, everybody, texts take up your phone time. He was relentless, page after page after page. So this year, as you may know, is the 41st anniversary of Spinal Tap. And there's posters. Spinal Tap is a movie, everybody. It holds up. We watched it last year. It's good. But the drummer, the first drummer that explodes, is Ed Begley. I don't want to give too much away. He lived down the street from me. And he knew Bobby Kennedy Begley. But the movie, everybody, it holds up. Spinal Tap. And there's posters. Spinal Tap is a movie, everybody. It holds up. We watched it last year. It's good. But the drummer, the first drummer that explodes, is Ed Begley. I don't want to give too much away. He lived down the street from me. And he knew Bobby Kennedy Jr. when the two of them were very involved in environmental issues.
Yeah.
So that's how I started getting texts from Mr. Kennedy.
Real quick, because we're out of time. I assume you tried to...
I just told him he's confused causation with correlation. The same old problem. Just because somebody got a vaccination and then somebody else got autism doesn't mean one caused the other. This is science. This is a long time. So that is, Mr. Kennedy's views have been debunked up and down. But I think, respectfully, the president likes things to be chaotic. So he hires people who are controversial on purpose. And here we are.
Bill Nye, it's always good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Keep up the good work. First Amendment. Keep it going.
All right, President Trump announcing new tariffs
Yeah,
against
I heard,
Mexico
wow.
and European Union this morning, fueling a wider trade war between the U.S. and its allies. Senior White House reporter Betsy Klein is joining us now from New Jersey, where the president is spending the weekend. Betsy, great to see you. So, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, Frederica, I just want to take a step back here to get to the root of all of this economic uncertainty. You will recall, President Trump essentially launched a global trade war back in April when he sent those reciprocal tariffs, reshaping the global economic order and really rocking markets. He issued a 90-day pause shortly after that amid so much market volatility. That 90-day pause came up this week. The president announced he was extending that deadline to August 1st, allowing a little bit more time, but he was going to start sending out personalized letters to leaders of different U.S. trading trading partners. And we are seeing that just today, a pair of letters sent to Mexico and the European Union, of course, two of the United States' biggest trading partners, setting a tariff rate of 30% for both the EU and Mexico. Now, I want to read to you a little bit from that letter to Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum. The president wrote, quote, Mexico has been helping me secure the border, but what Mexico has done is not enough. That he went on to say there will be no tariff if Mexico or companies within your country decide to build or manufacture product within the United States. Now, shortly following that letter, a top Mexican economic official said that U.S. and Mexican officials had met on Friday, and the Mexican officials conveyed that that 30% tariff marked, quote, unfair treatment, and that they did not agree. Of course, they did agree to continue to keep negotiating and try to get to a better deal. Also on the EU side, the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, she says they are ready to continue working toward an agreement by that August 1st deadline. Of course, all of this contributing to so much mounting uncertainty for investors, consumers, and businesses alike leading up to that August 1st deadline, Frederica.
Indeed. All right, Betsy Klein, thanks so much, New Jersey. Starting next month, President Trump says he's slapping new tariffs on 30% rather on Mexico and the European Union. Today, Trump unveiled the new rates and letters to the leaders of the EU and Mexico, renewing uncertainty about how this trade war could impact the economy. Let's discuss now with Democratic Congressman Brad Schneider of Illinois. He's a member of the House Ways and Means Committee. Congressman, great to see you this Saturday.
Good to be here.
All right, so what's your reaction to this news and on the weekend?
Well, specifically, it's a weekend, so you're not going to see a reaction in the stock market. But we know a few things. Number one, tariffs are a tax on the American consumer. And there's a place for tariffs. Tariffs should be used when you're punishing bad actors, protecting specific national interests. But the president is using tariffs in this on-again, off-again, unpredictable, quite literally unhelpful way that is only driving more uncertainty, more instability within the American stock market, with the American consumers and American companies, really hurting American small businesses.
I mean, and it seems like it's every other week, or if not every week, you know, there is something about the tariff policies coming out, a new country being imposed with tariffs, and as you mentioned, tariffs might serve as punishment. But in this case, are you starting to see that it's the U.S. economy as a whole that's being used almost like a weapon?
Well, he is weaponizing the American economy, but the people who are going to be hurt the most are the American people, American consumers. He's using it, you know, his threats against Brazil, a 50% tariff if they don't end their trial against Jair Bolsonaro. Well, that's internal Brazilian politics. The American economy should not be used as a weapon there. His threats against our closest trading partners in Mexico and Canada, raising the cost of housing, the cost of food, the cost of automobiles, everything that Americans depend upon and the markets we count on to be able to export to, he's putting those at risk and really hurting the hopes for Americans to provide for their families.
You mentioned it's putting real stresses on the small businesses as well. You've been back home in your district. You've been talking to constituents, including some of those small business owners. And what are they saying, if not about the tariffs, but also about the passage of the president's budget bill? What are people bracing for?
Well, you have to separate the two. So with tariffs, it's the uncertainty.
Yo, ever since he started with this tariff shit, yo, I'm gonna say one thing. Like, I don't know what the goal and the motive. Well, I mean, you know, I don't know what's really behind all this drastic change and shit. Like, I get that we know trying to make things great and better and all that, but you know, it seems like shit is very drastic, and it's like these other countries is not playing, and that's all I've been seeing since it begun. Like, ain't nobody playing. Like, they pulling back, like, for real. They bucking, like, they like, hey, we ain't winning it, we ain't going for this shit. But hey, man, it's a lot of interesting things taking place in the world and today, man. Like, this is crazy.
It's the unpredictability makes it impossible to make decisions. And I met with a company in my district, Learning Resources, that's been leading the charge fighting these tariffs, actually taking the president and the administration to court. But they have not just postponed decisions; they canceled investments. In particular, to expand their facilities here in the area, in our district. That's a multi-million-dollar hit to our economy. On the Obama, the big beautiful bill, it really is a big bad bill for America. What we are seeing is an impact. I met with some healthcare providers who are bracing for the worst. People are worried about losing their healthcare. It's $1 trillion hit to Medicaid. But it's also the uncertainty created by this. No one wants to see the economy shrink. We want to make sure it's growing. But the way to do that is for Democrats and Republicans to work together to provide an environment that is stable, predictable, and allowing our business leaders to make the decisions they need to invest in the future, to introduce new products, to build new plants, to hire more people, and really to grow our economy.
Trump started sending out letters notifying countries of tariffs that he plans to impose. Today, he announced plans to impose 30% tariffs on Mexico and the European Union. So what's with this strategy now? And on the weekend, obviously, to not rattle the markets, but what's he doing?
Right. Well, it's very clear that the president's patience on these trade deals have thinned. What we had last heard from Secretary Bessent was that they hope to wrap up all these trade conversations by Labor Day. Now, this is a later deadline than when Peter Navarro had originally said 90 deals in 90 days. It's quite clear that the administration is recognizing that these trade negotiations take more time than what was perhaps expected. And the president himself had said that he would rather just set rates and not deal with this back and forth, and then give these trading partners a little bit more time to negotiate with the U.S. should they decide to. But in a lot of ways, this is just him and his administration trying to follow through with the campaign promises that they made in a very quick way. With the passing of the One Big Beautiful Bill, most of his campaign promises have been codified into law, and so I think the fact that he is sort of rushing through with these letters isn't necessarily surprising in any way.